Today I'm canning turkey broth. You see my big pile of bones and meat right there. That was all the bones from one turkey. There's also the dark meat in here, so I'm going to pick through and pull out the dark meat. Maybe use that in, I don't know, some kind of a shredded meat thing that I'll make. We use shredded meat for things like tacos and other things like that, but there's a big chunk of the turkey thigh. So I'm going to pull out all the meat from these bones. But the reason I did this is because it was an older turkey, and so I felt like probably the dark meat would not be tender anyway if I baked it in the oven. So what I went ahead and did was cooked the turkey breasts in the oven, and that turned out really well in the oven. And then I wanted to can stock, and so I took all the other bones, I pulled off all the bones from the breast and all of the dark meat with the bones, the neck, and everything else, and dumped this in my canner and with water. So then I cooked it for about an hour. I pressured it for about an hour. So what I came up with is turkey stock. So now I'm going to can the stock and put it in my pantry. This is summertime, so we don't have a lot of soup in the summer. So this is something that will sit in my pantry probably until the fall. But it's super easy. You just put your bones and whatever meat is on the bones in the canner, pressure it for an hour, and then you have stock. I would probably, people are going to be correcting me. The correct terminology would be broth. I have turkey broth. To make stock, I would be putting in all of my vegetable skins, maybe the tops of my onions that I had pulled off from something that I was making. A lot of people will put their veggie scraps in the freezer and save them for when they are making stock. So, sorry, I know the correct terminology. That word just comes out, turkey stock. It's just what I call it. But this, if we're getting technical, this is turkey broth because there is nothing else in it. Okay, this is the way that I found that's easiest. I have this small little not stock pot, but this small little saucepan that I use as a ladle because it holds a lot more than a ladle. And then I have my canning funnel, and I have this little strainer that fits very nicely on top of my canning funnel. So that's going to collect all the little scraps of things, so I don't have to be fishing things out of the broth. Okay, so then I just fill up my jars. And I cooked this yesterday, and I let it sit on the stove overnight so it would cool down. So I didn't have to do anything with it overnight. So it's not really hot right now. Otherwise, I would not be doing it this way. But I like to do it as a 2-day process because it cools down overnight and it's not too hot for me to handle the next day, which makes it a lot easier. Now, I filled this one too full. You see that? That is too full. So I'm going to dump a little bit of it back. There you go. That's about what you want, right below the rim. So I'm going to go ahead and fill all my jars. So when I'm done filling everything, I've got 7 jars out here because I know this canner holds 7 quart jars. And then I will pressure can my jars for 20 minutes. Where is it? You know what? I might have to check my instructions because I think, I want to say it's 15 for pints and 20 for quarts for stock, but it may be 20 and 25. So Zach will put it in the description below after I figure it out. I will say that if you have turkey bones left over from if you're cooking a turkey or whatever you're doing, it does, in my opinion, make the best stock. I've made all kinds of stock. Chicken, I've made beef, also lamb, and venison. Turkey makes the best stock. that one's a little bit too full too. The other thing I probably should mention is that many people will want to make their stock or broth fat-free. And that is very easy to do. What happens with your broth is that the fat will settle on top. So, of course, we know fat does not combine with water, and so as it sets over time after it's done cooking and cooling off, the fat will come to the top and settle on top. So if you want to skim it, you can. I don't go to the extra work of doing that because I don't mind the healthy fats in our food. But if you did want to make it fat-free, you could. The thing that would make it really, really easy is if you were able to cool it down to say, oh, I don't know, maybe refrigerator temperatures, maybe below refrigerator temperatures, and then the fat would be hard on top. So you could just reach in and pull it out with your hand, break it up, pull it out with your hands. You wouldn't even have to skim it with a ladle or a spoon or anything. That is the easiest way to make fat-free stock if you're looking into doing that. For me, I purposely stir the fat down in so it incorporates throughout the broth, and so the fat is evenly distributed through each jar. If I was just to let the fat come to the top, and I've done this, I learned this the hard way, and get the broth from the top into one jar, that jar would be primarily fat and the others would have a very limited amount, which I went ahead and used it. It was fine. It's just that some of the jars had a little bit more fat than others. Okay, I'm gonna wipe my rims and get my lids on. Pressure can them and then they'll go in the pantry.